It's popping, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy 80, and it's been a minute since I did news coverage. I'm not going to fast forward this because when you live in Vermont like I do, the connection is very inconsistent. So what's going to happen is she might freeze 30 times. I'm just using this for a background. I wish I could go to the actual Game of the Year award, but this is all about my dude who was very upset with Wukong not winning Game of the Year. And I had to come in here and talk about it. Every single year, the Game of the Year winners are usually very, 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 very good choices. So whoever wins Game of the Year, you're usually okay with it because in your mind it's like, if you're a gamer, you're like, okay, I understand it and I respect that, right? So let's talk about it. My man was mad because he said I wrote out a speech 2 years ago to accept this for being Game of the Year. That's one. Two, in the midst of him doing that, he goes on and says, well, we won the 2 awards, we did this and that, but we won the Player's Choice Award, which is awesome, that's great, that's important to us, but I feel like we went for nothing. So you're now pretty much saying you're privileged enough to tell us as an audience that you deserved an award, and I'm sure almost all game developers may feel like that when their game comes out. I'm sure when Ragnarok came out, when they lost to Elden Ring, I'm sure that they thought, Santa Monica thought, no, we deserve that. I'm sure they did. But when you're a real gamer, you're going to respect the call regardless. So all the hate Astrobot's getting, right? And then you have the Wukong creator come out and say the same thing. Okay, let's talk about it, right? Wukong is already inspired off of books and everything. Astrobot was a tech demo that hit VR after. It was vice versa. VR then the tech demo. It was a tech demo when you turned your PS5 on that literally was made to get you used to the buttons and mechanics of Astrobot. Astrobot was a created little robot with inspiration from some of our beloved classic platformers. To the point that when they were on the stage, my man said, if it wasn't for that system, the original gray system, with the characters that we love, the platforming, he even shouted out how Mario was inspiration for this. Mario is the reason that Astrobot can exist. Wukong is already inspired by books, lore, everything. It has its grounding. It already has everything it needed. It just got redone and remade and put on to a video game. On top of that, when it comes to Wukong, it was supposed to just be an action adventure game, action RPG, whatever you want to call it. It ended up being more of a Souls-like. When I seen Wukong, all I thought was, okay, this is gonna be like Ninja Gaiden, the newer ones, Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3, Razor's Edge, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden Sigma. That's what I thought because it seemed like that. But now, when it came out, and let me make something very clear. I gotta. When I use facts, when I give an opinion, I gotta use facts. Wukong is a good game. The secret things it has, the things you can do in the game, all awesome. I have not one piece of anger in my body toward Wukong. I have anger toward the creator feeling like he was obligated to win Game of the Year, as if he had a speech that they didn't tell him to write out. He was just that certain in his game. He was that confident in his game. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of developers that may feel that way. But if you look at the history of the Game Awards, most of the ones that win, you can't argue against them. I personally would never, ever, ever touch Baldur's Gate 3 in my life. Ever. But when the game came out, I seen the reviews. I seen the feedback. I seen the hype. I seen the love. I seen the respect. I seen all that stuff, the how much you can do, the freedom to play. I seen all that. As a gamer, I said, it's going to win. I knew it was going to win. Even though Tears of the Kingdom was incredible, and I would have picked Tears of the Kingdom, we did in our Game Awards, ended up picking Tears of the Kingdom. Me personally, I feel Zelda's way better than Baldur's Gate was. But I also am aware that as a gamer, I have to be realistic. I'm not biased. When God of War Ragnarok was up and it was going against Elden Ring, I told everyone, Ragnarok is one of the greatest games I ever played in my life. Top 3. Of course I'm going to vote for it. But I also seen that everyone and their mama loved Elden Ring. I seen the streams. I seen the love it got. I seen the high review scores. I seen it all. So I factored that into this year. I said, when I was watching, I said, okay, I'm playing Astrobot, and I said Astrobot's going to win Game of the Year. And the reason I was confident in that, because I said, it's doing so much perfect to me that it's my Game of the Year. But then I calculated and I said, okay, but people are liking Wukong a lot. People love the Elden Ring DLC. Elden Ring, the Shadow of Erdtree DLC is the highest rated DLC of all time. One of the highest rated games of all time. But I was along the lines of the people that said that DLC shouldn't be able to get nominated. You could have had a separate bracket for DLC. You had Erdtree, you had Destiny Final Shape. There was a lot of DLC that came out that could have been nominated. So I think next year they will do a DLC category. I don't think they're going to keep doing that. Don't put that in Game of the Year. I don't care how good it is. Don't put that in Game of the Year. Unless it's a whole new game, don't do that. I feel like if the game doesn't have a 40-hour plus new story with new everything and it's not based off the same name, like if Astrobot comes out with a DLC next year and it's like 20 new levels and it's this and that, it shouldn't be nominated. That's not fair. It's DLC. If there's not a 2 next to the name or a sequel or a standalone, nah. Look, for instance, the new Elden Ring coming out, the Night whatever, that's fair. It's a whole new game. Whole new concept, new play style, everything's new. I respect that. I'm cool with that. But I knew when I played and sat down, I played Wukong, I played Astrobot. I didn't play Erdtree because I'm not a fan of Elden Ring, but I respect Elden Ring. I share the news with my team about how good Elden Ring is doing, the ratings, the reviews. I do that because I study every game. I'm not biased. I study every game. Sport games, I hate Madden. I hate 2K. I study them to see how they're doing. I study COD to see how it's doing. I study all these games that come out. I study them because I want to make sure that if I have an opinion, it's not just my fact against what's really going on. It's literally an opinion. It's an opinion of gathering information, not an opinion of my heart or me saying what I feel is the right way. Can't do that. I think it's unfair to do that. If you want to do that, that's what you have your own gaming channel for, your own page for. But let's talk about what Astrobot did. When I played Wukong, the first thing I noticed was, okay, the fighting is very simple. There's not really complicated fighting schemes. There's one button presses for the most part. There's leveling up. There's little secret areas. The graphics are okay. They're not the greatest, but they're good enough. I seen all that. I'm like, okay, the graphics are good. They're decent. The bosses were awesome. And while I was playing, I said, this is good. And I could see people saying this would be Game of the Year. I didn't finish it. I made it to the Dustville and like chapter 4 or 5, whatever. I just got bored. Because it just, like, for me, with these new games, like even with Elden and all them, I'm not a fan of finding lore and finding stories on characters from me reading a book in the game and all that. I want to see cutscenes. I want to see build up. I want to see all that. And I just feel like a lot of these new games are just boss runs. Like, oh, there's an enemy just standing in the middle of the woods by himself and you walk up to him and you get into a beef. A health bar pops up, you're in a beef. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not hating on it. So I played Wukong. I said, I'm going to try it. I was playing it. I was enjoying it. Then I just got bored. It wasn't even because I was stuck. There was bosses like the Rat King dude, the Yellow Rat King dude. I was stuck with him for like 50, 60 matches. And I still was enjoying losing. But then as I played, I just was like, it's not pulling me in like that. The invisible walls were pissing me off. It was a few things, but I said I could see this being a Game of the Year nominee. Then Astrobot comes out. I played Astrobot. I did a full-on stream to platinum that game. I did like 3 altogether. And the reason Astrobot was great, and this is coming from someone that's not even a PlayStation guy. I came over to PlayStation in 2018 when God of War came out. I came over to PlayStation. And I caught up on all the PlayStation games. Then I said to myself, now I see why everybody loved PlayStation. But the thing that this game did was, I was always familiar with PlayStation. I had always played the games or went to a cousin's house and played these games. When you play Astrobot and you get to relive some of the greatest games of all time back in those days, and you get to relive them through the Astrobot format, on top of all those games, being able to play a Mario-esque game, which Super Mario 3D, not 3D World, Super Mario Odyssey was nominated for Game of the Year when it came out. And it only lost because Zelda, Breath of the Wild, had came out. Nothing was beating Breath of the Wild. So if you take the concept of Mario, which they openly admitted they were inspired by Mario with, you take that concept, you make it even better than what Mario Odyssey was able to do by adding the nostalgia effects, by going through the entire history of PlayStation, allowing you to collect characters from the past, unlock all these cool costumes, opening up a nice open hub world that they had, unlocking different features, and then giving us a Pikmin effect where there's even a world where all the characters you collect are actually of use. Like, it literally gave what old school gamers would look for in a game. If you were a platformer fan, you were happy for Astrobot. This is the thing big about Astrobot right now. Astrobot winning opens up the minds, it opens up the doors for developers to say, you know what? We don't have to just make shooters. We don't have to just make games where you're killing people all the time. We don't have to just make games where it's a Souls-like. We don't have to make games where it's like Fortnite. It's battle passes and RPG element. Like, we can do it without having to do it. And the best thing for PlayStation and Sony, this can inspire them to finally say, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper. This can inspire them to do that. Ratchet and Clank is still one of the best PS5 games I ever played. The graphics, the story, what you can do in it, the customization, the exploration, it's not overwhelming. So good. Games like Ratchet and Clank, games like Astrobot, games like Jak and Daxter, these are games that can still live on. Nintendo shows it all the time. Nintendo don't switch up their format. Nintendo's always going to be the same, and that's why they're successful. So I'm hoping that this allows PlayStation to say, we understand our gamers that want those rated M and want those crazy violent games, but we also understand we have great IPs like Astrobot and Jak and Daxter and all these other games that we can be showing love to and bringing back in the modern day and era. So for seeing the feedback that people are giving against against Astrobot, it's insane. We're at a stage now where people are crying. It Takes Two won the year it won. That was the only shock I ever seen in the Game Awards. Every other game that wins Game of the Year, it's always arguably a perfect decision. And that's coming from someone that literally would say, I didn't want Baldur's Gate to win. I hate Baldur's Gate. Overwatch was a winner. Witcher 3 was a winner. Can y'all look at the list and tell me which ones you would look at and say, nah, that didn't deserve it? You really can't. You may say, I enjoyed this game more, but that doesn't mean your one opinion is better than a whole bunch of people that feel a different way. Then you go look at the scores for what Wukong was getting, the score for what Elden Ring was getting, all the games that came out. Look at the scores for them. You would have known Wukong wasn't winning. Wukong was getting 70% and 80% and 7 out of 10s and 6 out of 10s, and some websites would give it 8s and all that. For the most part, Astrobot was getting like perfect scores. I think other than IGN giving it a 9, I think it was a 9, most of the sites gave it a 10. Most people said it was the perfect game. To me, Astrobot was a perfect game because I love platformers. And I love that they were able to take a tech demo and make something so creative. The secret levels, everything they added was incredible. So I just wanted to cover that, man. I believe that my man with Wukong, he's being a sore loser. Bro, it's one award. And what's going to be even crazier is if Astrobot wins with IGN, which I don't see because they gave it a 9. And Wukong was rated lower than that with IGN. So I don't know. They might go Erdtree. I don't know. but it's opinion. And it's putting numbers against numbers. It's putting stats against stats. It's putting replayability against replayability. I personally think this was a great win for Astrobot, Team Asobi. They did so good with it, and it opens up the door for other platformers. So I'm excited. Now, if you want more games like Wukong or games inspired that way, then I can understand your excitement for that because you want that style of game. So it is what it is. But Astrobot, congratulations. My boy Astro pulled it off. All the other ones, people hating on it, is what it is. And I ain't gonna lie, I want to see what number 2 and 3 was, because honestly, I think Metaphor was number 2. I don't even think Wukong was number 2. So we'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Your boy A0. Peace.